We have with us today James Kennedy with Beach City Solar Consulting. Thanks for joining us, James.
Thanks for having me on the show, James.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your company, your mission statement, and your background, and how did you get into solar?
That's a great question and a great story. I'm happy to answer it. I was actually a financial advisor for 12 years in both New York City and Beverly Hills prior to moving down to the South Bay for a better quality of life. This actually coincided with the global financial crisis in 2008. I was only about 5 years into my career at the time. And, with the global downturn, there wasn't a lot of demand in the marketplace. And I was struggling, to be completely honest with you, after really excelling working for an investment bank in Beverly Hills. I met a gentleman at the North End in Hermosa Beach, shooting pool and having a beer on a Saturday. And he installed solar panels for a general contractor that worked up in the San Fernando Valley. So I took that meeting. I worked for this contractor for about a year. I learned the construction business and in particularly all of the ins and outs of solar. I did not want to be in the home remodeling or new construction business. I really wanted to be in solar and help people save money and help the planet. So after a year of working for that gentleman, I went out and started my own company, Beach City Solar Consulting.
That's great. And there's a lot of changes going on. What is the California Net Energy Metering 3.0?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We've been fighting. When I say we, I refer to the entire California solar energy industry. I've been fighting against the utilities, the investor-owned utilities in the state. That's Southern California Edison in Los Angeles, San Diego Gas and Electric in San Diego, and Pacific Gas and Electric up in San Francisco. They're losing about $5 to $6 billion a year from the 1.5 million rooftop solar customers in the state, and they want to implement a solar tax. We were effective in prolonging this tax at the beginning of the year. Our industry had a couple of protests at the CPUC facilities in both Los Angeles and San Francisco last week. We are continuing to fight against these large utility monopolies. But because their business model is a outdated method of generation and distribution that we know doesn't work, PG&E was found guilty of starting the Paradise Fire in 2018, the largest wildfire in the state's history.
That's right.
We've got to transition to microgrids where you're producing and storing your own energy in your home and business. But the utilities don't want that. That's a threat to their business model.
So talk about the tax. Is the tax on the installation, or is the tax an ongoing tax on the generation of power?
Yeah, it would be an ongoing tax, a monthly tax just for having the solar system.
Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, it would make the projects financially unfeasible, and we do believe that the industry would more or less collapse overnight if this tax does go through.
So there was a proposal, I read something about a year ago or a year and a half ago that all new construction had to have solar installed. Is that in California? Is that only in LA County, or what? Did that ever pass?
It did pass in January of 2020. All residential new builds have to have solar panels. So it's been in effect for a couple of years now.
Is that in the state of California or in LA County?
The entire state of California. And starting January of next year, all commercial builds must have solar and battery storage.
Wow. So let's talk about the CPUC proposed solar tax with the NEM. Describe that. What's the CPUC and what's the NEM 3.0? Is that the same thing as we were just talking about?
Yeah, so the key takeaway here is that it is a proposed tax. They're trying to push it through in July. Once whatever legislation comes forward, there will be about a 4-month period before it's implemented. So for those of you that do not have solar panels, there's never been a better time to install solar and get your system interconnected. because you'll be grandfathered into the existing net metering program with no tax. Net metering is a financial incentive that the utilities offer where if you don't have batteries, you can sell energy back from excess production during the day and then take that production at night or during cloudy days. That's currently something that the utilities only charge $10 a month for. They want to increase that charge up to anywhere between $50 to $60 per month. They also want to de-incentivize the excess energy that's sent back to the grid and reduce the amount that they're paying you for that excess energy.
That's right. You know, in a personal example, I bought a house with existing solar panels on it, and the previous owner said, "Oh, it's great. Not only do I get a credit every month, but also at the end of the year, I receive a check from Southern California Edison." Been there about a year and a half, and I don't receive a check at all. And what you told me is the previous owner was grandfathered in, and I'm on a new system because I'm a new owner, and they've de-incentivized that program altogether for new owners, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So when a home switches hands, the existing net energy metering program gets reset to whatever the new net energy metering program is at the time.
Let's say this tax takes place and it passes. Am I going to be grandfathered in at the current plan I'm on, or am I going to be subject to this increased tax?
You'll remain in your plan. The utilities are trying to reduce the 20-year duration of current contracts down to 15 years for existing solar customers.
Talk about the whole utility rate increase and what's happening with that.
Well, it goes back to the failed business model the utilities have and losing billions of dollars a year in profits. Southern California Edison has averaged a 7% annual increase for the past several years. At that rate, your electric bill will double every 10 years. They are actually the cheapest rates in the state. PG&E has raised rates twice this year, over 20%, and San Diego Gas and Electric is raising them typically 11 to 13% per year.
So talk about the cost of the system and the different options of financing the installation of a system.
Great questions. Using that same example of a $300 a month bill, because everybody's lifestyle and consumption habits are different. You know, that 10 kilowatt solar system installed is going to run you about $35,000. That's before your one-time 26% federal tax credit. If you finance that project, you're looking at saving 20 to 30% immediately on a low interest fixed solar loan. You can actually add in a battery and still save money via financing. Your return on investment on that project is going to be 5 to 6 years, depending on whether you have a battery or just solar panels.
That's great. So you're getting rid of your $300 a month electric bill, but you are paying the financing charges on that system, which probably would not be $300 a month, correct?
Yeah, you're looking at reducing that to about $200 a month.
So immediately, and it's going to be a stable payment that's not going to fluctuate depending on the year and the usage and that sort of thing.
Exactly. And the key is if you're staying in the home, once that loan is paid off, you're getting free energy.
Any words of encouragement to people maybe on the fence of jumping into solar? What would you say?
I'd quote one of my customers from 2017. He wrote me a testimonial and said, "The only regret we have about solar is not doing it sooner."
That's kind of how I feel. Absolutely. It's really nice to see that credit every month. I don't even actually get the bill. I go online and I got, a $1,000 credit this year so far. And it's a wonderful feeling that I don't have that additional monthly expense. Well, James, thanks for joining us. I know you're very busy, so thanks for spending the time with us today.
Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed the conversation, James.
All right. Talk to you soon.